Ah, Java. As a country of coffee lovers, this word probably elicits thoughts of quaint coffee shops and caffeine buzzes. But the most important Java out there is something you're not thinking about. Why? Because it's not something you see every day. It's actually the name of one of the most commonly used programming languages in the world, being used for all kinds of applications, making up the back end of business applications, phones, and computer tech. But what if that code, that computer language, was restricted? What if you could only use it if you had a license from the creator? That question isn't hypothetical anymore, and it's creating a coding conundrum that begs the question, can a company limit the use of technological advancements such as a programming language? Here's the situation. Java is a computer language that was developed by a company called Sun Microsystems in 1995. The language was able to create functionality across multiple devices, making a more universal coding language. In 2010, Sun was bought by a competitor company called Oracle Corporation. That same year, Oracle filed a lawsuit against Google for using 37 Java API, or application programming interfaces, when building the Android mobile operating system. Simply put, when Google used Java to write the Android operating system, it did not pay for licensing, which Oracle felt was copyright infringement. Google's argument on the matter? Java is protected under fair use. At stake was upwards of $9 billion, which Oracle felt Google owed them for what they called illegal use. In 2014, when the case was heard before the Federal Circuit Court of Appeals, after a long battle back and forth between the tech giant and the developer, the verdict sided with Google. It noted that, yes, APIs could absolutely be copyrighted, but to do so, they must show some kind of excessive creative measure beyond their functional purpose, which they felt the 37 Java APIs just did not meet. Google's use for the software building, however, they saw as transformative use, which in its own right was able to be copyrighted. But Oracle would not let it go. In early February of 2017, Oracle officially filed an appeal with the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit. They felt the fact that the court focused on Android as a smartphone and tablet software completely misled the full capabilities of the software, especially with the launching of the ARC++ project, which allows Android applications to function on Chrome OS hardware. So, what does all of this mean? We understand that Java is a language. Check. We also understand that Oracle believes Java should be completely protected under copyright law. Check. And finally, we understand that Google sees Java as a fair use tool that they were able to access without purchasing to build their software. Check. Now, what's important to understand is what implications this case could have on developers and businesses depending on who wins. What you may not realize is that most businesses, organizations, and online platforms have some kind of Java being used. Technology companies like Amazon and Facebook have Java built into them. Retailers and their logistics teams like Walmart would use Java to create some of their programs and internal systems. Healthcare companies, with their complex portals and file systems, are also notorious for using Java. Even car manufacturers like General Motors are somehow integrating Java into their business. As you can see, the effect of this one language has an incredible reach and potential effect on the global economy. So we have to ask, if Oracle wins this case, what could that mean? If APIs like Java are deemed copyrightable by the court system, that would mean that every language would have to be licensed before use. So every one of those companies that are using Java would have to pay Oracle some sort of fee to use the language in its libraries, or the functionalities that make it work on different devices and platforms. As the #1 choice for developers and the #1 development platform, the effect of copyright law would stunt the progress of many developers and companies, as they would be forced to pay a Java licensing fee, or they would have to find another programming language. Right now, some 9 million developers around the world are using Java, and some 3 billion phones are running it, which forces us to consider that it wouldn't be just Google who would have to pay, but millions and millions of people around the world who may still think that Java is just a cup of joe. Now, in comparison, what would happen if Google were to win this case, and APIs like Java were to be considered fair use? The biggest question is what will constitute as copyrightable in terms of APIs. If Oracle can't protect their language and their creative, functional coding system, who will want to create something new that they can't profit off of? Suddenly, an expectation is put in place that new innovations in regards to programming are accessible by all, with no credit or monetary exchange required to the developer behind it all. Soon, we will see this case go in front of the Court of Appeals again, as Oracle and Google look to peg fair use against copyright.